The idea of voting or electing people into positions of political power. Ask yourself, are you wanting to be the change or looking to others to be the change for you? If you depend upon others for your own freedom, are you really free? We must recognize that it isn't just the people who vote who are begging. It is also the people running for office begging the people to vote for them. Are people leaders simply because of their begging for votes or because of their identity, their appearance, their convincing words, or their money? Think of all the wasted time and money that is spent on advertisements for political campaigns. How much of that is wasted just leading up to the process for change that is unknown as to if, when, and how positive change will actually occur? More often than not, the candidate who is funded the most and gets the most exposure gets that coveted seat, regardless of how many people like him or vote for him. We've been in a perpetual state of begging for positive change come every election cycle. These days, it's never voting for the best candidate like it was in the early days of the United States, but it's always voting for the lesser of two evils. We don't get to choose the candidates that are placed in front of us. And then, when the most recent election is done and in the books, nothing actually changes for the better. Have any of these governmental problems been resolved by way of voting for the different party, or even the same party every 4 or 2 years? I'm talking about the big problems on a mass scale that we've always had, such as pointless wars, innocent deaths, the war on drugs, our broken healthcare system, the spraying in the skies, being taxed to death, lack of justice being served by criminals, amendments such as the Fourth being violated every day by the government, the outrageous ticket prices at concerts and sporting events, entertainers and politicians being paid millions upon millions of dollars to do nothing that benefits society, while productive people like you and me have to cut and grind every day in order to scrape by just to make a living. Did any one of us vote for this? It's now the year 2026. I would have thought that by now, more of us would have grown out of the belief that these problems will get solved by voting. We know that the law is capable of changing, so something can be good one day and then bad the next, or bad one day and good the next. Morality should not change day to day based on politicians in one area erasing something on a piece of paper and then writing in something different. It should not change based on geography. For example, in the United States, we're divided up into several smaller states. Issues such as abortion could be perfectly fine in California, not because common sense says it's moral, it's because the state politicians say that it's moral. But as soon as you walk across an invisible line to Nevada, suddenly abortion could be not okay. Not because it's inherently immoral, but because the state politicians say that it's immoral. Is that how things should be regulated? Leave the biggest moral decisions up to politicians based on which area of dirt you're standing on? With government, morality has to pass through the gates of a man-made dictated filler, and then we have to live under the decisions that they make for us without any input from us. If we are all born equal, with our rights coming from God, as any Christian would say, or our rights being natural as a product of us living amongst each other, as any atheist would say, then how in the world can any of those people vote for a state of hierarchy in which certain human beings have more rights than others? Government and people with the most influence up here, and then everybody else down here. And then both Christians and atheists vote for others to rob and extort money from themselves while empowering the military and ruling class, which lives off of spreading fear and promoting violence to other human beings. It makes no sense. Every law is an opinion of man, a bunch of scribbles on paper backed by the threat of violence against you if you don't comply. enforced by other human beings who are somehow granted special rights and privileges that you don't have. Those humans are the ones who get to dictate what is right and what is wrong. What makes one individual, or a few, fit to rule over everybody else in a population, and use threats backed by violence and imprisonment to carry out their commands? Should we violate the rights of one individual or a few in order to serve the greater good? Who gets to define what that is? When people don't use their own conscience or think for themselves and instead just blindly follow orders, what we get is this messed up world that we are living in today. We continue to look forward to the next election and expect our vote to make a difference. After all, our vote is our chance to fix things, right? And then, no matter who wins, we get angry when we realize that the world isn't being changed the way that we want it to. These days, politics are based on slander, in which people get so wrapped up in one side versus the other. Instead of uniting and working together to make a better society, the opposing sides constantly attack each other instead of laying out any comprehensive plan as to how they are going to make life better for you. Any wealthy politician who is put on the world stage and doesn't know that you exist will lie and say that he grew up in a poor, hardworking family, and the problems that he faced back then are just part of the day-to-day struggles that we are all facing today. And he will fix all of this if you just vote for him, because he's the one and not the other guy who represents your best interests and knows what you are going through. Even if his intentions are good, how can you ever know that for sure? How can you know what's going on inside of his mind? How can you know anything about what these candidates stand for if you can never get personal access to them? You're basing your entire vote on hope and faith instead of confidence and trust. Your knowledge of the candidates is always zero. The result is that no matter who wins, the winning politician becomes more powerful and wealthier than before, while nothing ever changes for the voters. I'll see you in part 2 in my next video.